love Close the Kitchen. We close the kitchen 4 times a week because during this COVID time, it is just, it's so tricky, you know, and the food comes a calling, and, you know, we look for this nourishment and this nurturing in the food so often. And I like to have a little time with you guys 4 times a week where we learn how to nourish and nurture ourselves and connect in the ways that are more long-term effective, which is, you know, not going to the food, you know, and going to these other skills and other thoughts. So sometimes we go to the food because we're having these thoughts, and we sometimes think about the way that we think. We think about reframing and restructuring the way that we think. Sometimes we just talk about hard skills, right? Anybody know what my favorite skill in the whole world is? Of all this, I mean, other than community and connection. Anybody know? I'll give you 10,000 gold stars if you know what my very favorite skill in the whole world is. And, you know, sometimes we just talk about, I don't know what else we talk about, but it's just such a wonderful community. I'm so grateful for all of them. That's right. Ice. Good job, Amy. Tip. Ice is my favorite skill. That's right. Ice. Everybody knows. Ice pack. Look at you all. Everybody knows my favorite skill. I am the most reliable person around. Ice pack. Everybody's got it. Look at this. Meditation would be second. Look at this. Is amazing. Everybody knows. So Sharon did this incredible thing today. I just want to share it with the Facebook community, where she made her kids chocolate chip scones, and she said to herself, I have a choice. And she opted out. And she said, who am I? And you know what I say to you, Sharon? Knew you who dis. That's right. Knew you who dis. It is so exciting. Apologies, Instagram. I was just getting a phone call. Just that kind of night. So Jennifer, ice is the best skill because it's just immediate when you want to be eating, or you're just feeling like really angry, or like really just, you know, overwhelmed. You put it on the back of your neck. You put your neck between your legs if you want, and you will be amazed at how much easier it is to come back to your wisdom and make a choice that's different. So that's what ice is. Okay. Let's do our close the kitchen chat. Let's do our little chat together. So it's really love of my life. You're here. You just called me. I love you. So lots and lots of talk in the Facebook group this week about people really struggling. And oh my goodness, I get it. Like, oh my goodness, I totally get it. Here's what I just want to say about this though. Like, some of the languaging that I'm reading about the struggle, even what I just heard on Instagram tonight, right, where somebody was saying, you know, it's just so hard. But I'm trying to remember the languaging exactly. But some of the languaging was like, you know, this sugar addiction, or this relationship with sugar, you know, it's pummeling me. You know, I can't control it. Like, and I just think, and I'm never going to be able to get over it. And I feel like I'm going to be in this forever. And like, I totally get that. Like, I get that on such a profoundly deep, dark level. Like, my soul understands that soul wholeheartedly, right? And you have hired me to be your bestie, but you've hired me to be your coach, right? You've hired me to be your guide and your coach. And in the book, Breaking Up with Sugar, in the second chapter, like the first chapter, I tell you my story. The second chapter, we don't talk about sugar. We don't even talk about food. We talk about taking the sacred vow. And taking the sacred vow is making this commitment to yourself that you are never, ever, ever going to give up. Because here's the thing that happens sometimes. Like, listen, like, sometimes we just like have a complete and utter relapse. Like, it happens. Like, and of course we can talk like at length about that, because what they say in the addictions community is that relapse happens before relapse happens. And what that means is if you were to watch the movie of where you have this relapse, and let me use different languaging, like turning back to the arms of sugar. If you were to watch the movie of how you went back to your great lover, sugar, you would see so many parts in this story where you could have made a different choice. And this is what I've been talking about so much, and it's what Sharon just said in her share, right? We have so many choices. And the thing about this relationship with food, and especially if you're like me, like hardcore diet veteran, is that diet culture and sugar has got you believing the fake news, my love, has got you believing the fake news. And the fake news is that you don't have choices and you can't do this, and you're going to be ravaged by sugar and this awful abusive relationship with sugar, flour, whatever food you're talking about for the rest of your life. Now, just need to put on my spiritual hat for a minute because, well, it's indicated. And the first thing I want to tell you is this: the greatest lie that your brain tells you, and it is the least spiritual thing that exists, is forever, right? The minute you hear that, I want you to know it is utter BS. Nothing lasts forever, by the by. You know, little side Buddhist in me, right? Nothing lasts forever. So if you're like, oh my God, I have to do this forever, just back up. Like back up, trust your soul, come into the day, right? But the other thing is that you have so much more control than you think you do, right? The first thing I want to say, if you're really feeling like this hopeless and this out of control, like I really want you to take this relationship that you have with sugar and probably with flour, like real seriously. And because those of us who are really, really ravaged by food have usually like, and I don't judge you, like my path has been that like I'm the sickest, so that like I just kind of like, you know, can call it like I see it. So like if you're really, really struggling with the food, right? The likelihood that you have like a 12 out of 12 food problem is going to be like really, really high. And that's not for me to judge. There's like literally a quiz you can take. But you really want to start taking this recovery seriously and this new relationship seriously. And here's where the problem happens. Okay, I really want you to see this. The problem, this is why I wrote the second chapter being the Sacred Vow. This is where the rub happens, my love. Like here I am, like love you more than life, like such important people to me, okay? And like, I get it, right? And I'm like, so you sort of have to take this like really, really seriously. And there's a part of you that's like, I can't. I failed at this too many times. I don't want to give it up anymore. I don't want to try again. You know, like I don't want to try again, or it's too scary to try again. I don't think I can do it, right? And you know what I say was about that, which is like, well, what's the alternative, right? Well, what's the alternative? And the likelihood that you're going to need to like up your commitment if you're really, really struggling is big. Sometimes I'm just like the bearer of bad news. It like breaks my own heart. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. That one of my favorite acronyms in all of addictions, it's like addictions like love's a good acronym, is the acronym SLIP, SLIP. And it's sobriety loses its priority. And so usually when we find ourselves, you know, back in the arms of sugar, right? It's because like sobriety has lost its priority. I mean, I will tell you, I've treated thousands and thousands of people, so I've listened to this story over and over and over again. And the story always goes like, well, I got a big job, or like I had a baby, or like, you know, or like I fell in love, or like I had this, or like my father died, and I just, you know, and all of a sudden I was like back in the sugar, or like I started drinking Diet Coke. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and all of a sudden I'm like eating brownies like it's no big deal. Sobriety loses its priority. Like slips happen in all different shapes and sizes, but the problem is that, and this is why I always beg you to go back to the Sacred Vow, is that what's the alternative? What, like, you have to try again. So those of you choosing your heart, I love that, you know? So like, what's the alternative? Because you have two alternatives right now. Those of you who are struggling, you have two alternatives, right? Stay miserable or make this huge change. And you know what I said to someone the other day? She was just having this moment where she was like, well, it was really about her relationship with a man. It wasn't about her relationship with food, but I think it's all the same. She's like, I'm just so scared of being rejected by him. I'm just so scared of being rejected by him. And I was like, you're used to being rejected. You've been rejected a lot of times. What's the big deal, right? And I wonder if we can think about that with diet mentality, because the truth is, we have to be And so those of you who are struggling, like, I think that you are probably trying so hard, right, to do this. And the truth is, and this is what my teacher Marsha always says, you might need to try a little harder, and you might need to do like the really hard things. Like you might need to say to your family, like, I can't have the Hershey's Kisses in the house right now, family. Or like what I did, like when I was struggling at the beginning of COVID, right? Like I said to my family, like, hey, for right now, I'm not going to come to family dinners just because like I just need to be doing something really small and separate as I sort of come back into my recovery right now. And I wasn't so far out. And also, I don't know. I'm going to talk more about this in next week's love letter, but remember what I'll always say to you, which is when you say no to other people, it allows you to say yes to yourself, right? We're always saying no. And so, right, and so Janice is saying this great thing, like it may mean that like you have to really accept like a day at a time. All I'm saying is for those of you who are struggling, like there may be some areas where you need to expand and you need to get a little bit braver. And you need to like open your like brave heart, like just like you need to open it just like a little bit more. I can remember, oh my goodness, when this round, I haven't had sugar and flour for 11 years, almost 11 years. And I remember like, oh my goodness, so well. Because I mean, if you've read my book, I got caught like throwing up at my eating disorder center, and like my life was the size of a postage stamp. And I was just like, it was so bad, and so by the time I had to, so I was like about to lose my job. Like it was just getting terrible. My relationships were suffering. Like so much was suffering. And so I knew, and I also like didn't really want to have to do it again. And so I just took it so seriously. And I just remember like I had to set such limits, right? So my friends would be like, hey, we're going to have dinner at 8:00 at the Thai restaurant. And I'd just be like, I can't go. Or, proactively, I would just say, hey, I really need to eat before 7. And like, here are a couple of restaurants that really work for me. And I had to prioritize me. I had to prioritize me like above everything else. And by the way, above like sugar, you know what I mean? Like I had to become more important than my relationship with sugar. I mean, that's really kind of how it happened. And so for those of you who are really suffering, I want to tell you a couple of things, which is I have been an addictions therapist for 20 years. I'm a recovering addict. And so I've spent a lot of time with other recovering addicts. And here's something I know for sure. Like you never know which attempt is going to make it. You just never know. So you can't give up. I mean, you just can't give up. And in some of the posts, and maybe this is my own bias in it, I'm like, and you got to take your power back. Like you got to step into your power, and you got to like, even if you're on, the bank of positive thinking takes counterfeit money. So even if you're faking it, you just have to say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be all in, and I'm going to try again, all in. Because you can't be like, if you're aiming for 4th place, like there's no way you're going to get the gold. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no way. If I was like, yeah, sure, 4th place is good, I'd be like in 8th place. You know what I mean? And I think there's a radical acceptance piece with struggling sometimes where it's like, just like release, and just you fake it till you make it. But it's like more than that, Crystal. It's more than faking it till you make it. It's like hustling till you make it. You gotta fight for your life. If sugar has stolen from you, that thief and that terrorist, you take your power back, my loves, and you do it right now. Which means that you probably have to do really hard and brave things. Like in one person in the Facebook group was like, I have to give up artificial sweeteners. And I was like, word, it's the hardest thing I did. It gave me the most freedom. That's what my clinician, one of my favorite clinicians at Beacon, Susan, we always say, hardest thing we ever did was give up artificial sweeteners. Best thing we ever did, we got the most rewards from it. That's usually how it happens. Oh my God, Bernadette, I die over. Bernadette's quote, I'm putting this on Instagram. 100% is easier than 99%. So true. So true. 100% in is easier than 99% in. It's so true. That lasting 1% is so hard. It's so hard. And listen, the data on artificial sweeteners, just side note just as your loving coach, is they are more toxic. They bring on more cravings. Like it's the worst for you. You're better off. I mean, I don't encourage you to eat sugar, but you're better off eating real sugar than you are eating artificial sweetener. It's so bad. It's just, it increases cravings. It increases hunger. It messes with your taste buds. I could go on all day. if you know me. So the point is, for those of you who are struggling, you're not allowed to give up. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but my suggestion would be very clear. You never, ever, ever give up. Jean Marie, love you. I was just late, so let's give it a little bit of extra time. And sometimes on Sundays we talk a little longer. You never, ever, ever give up. You never, ever, ever give up. And that's the commitment you make to yourself. And then you got to make this, I need to give you this other little piece of information, that if you're really, really struggling, you might want to get really quiet inside and look at the pieces where you're not willing to make the brave change. Maybe it's in talking to your friends and your support team. Maybe it's in the artificial sweeteners of it, right? Maybe it's in the planning. Like, there's going to be little places, right? There's going to be little places where you're just going to have to expand that heart of bravery. And I believe you can do it. I mean, I believe wholeheartedly you can do it. And I believe you are worth it. And I believe you can. And I believe in you wholeheartedly with all of my heart and all of my soul. And I will hold that until you want it back. Okay? But the thing is, we're not allowed to be victims of this anymore. We're not allowed to just post and complain like, oh, this thing is ravaging me. Like, no, you fight. You fight for your relationship with food, and you fight for your relationship with yourself. And that's how we do the game. Cindy's throwing away her artificial sweeteners before she goes to bed. Can we just discuss, I have tears in my eyes, can we just discuss the bravery warrior that is Cindy Jordan on Facebook? That is what I am talking about, people. That is what I am talking about. Instagram's going crazy for you, Cindy. You are a warrior. You are a warrior, and watch her life change. Just watch her life change. This is what I mean. You get quiet. You talk to your soul. Your soul will tell you what to do. If you've read the book, if you know the information, once the information is in it, Cindy, it's over here on Instagram. It's bonkers. Once you know that information, you get quiet. Your soul will always tell you what to do. The wisdom inside of you is so great. You have no idea. You have no idea. Cindy Jordan for the win today, my friends. I knew something magical was going to happen tonight. Something magical always happens in Close the Kitchen. Okay, my loves. So the skill of the day is that we never, ever, ever give up. And sometimes we get quiet and we think about the places that we really need to get brave. I'm telling you, I've done a lot of hard things, and the hard things are always the one with the highest rewards. I pinky swear you on that. So listen, side note, we're not going to be posting, everything will be on Instagram and Facebook for 24 hours ongoing, and then we're going to move it all over to YouTube, to this dope YouTube channel that we want a ton of involvement on. So if you're looking for the extra Close the Kitchens, they'll all be on the YouTube channel. Easy to find, easy to get. You are all so magical. I love you. So let us close the kitchen, shall we? Put our hands on our hearts. Put our hands on our hearts because we love ourselves. We put our hands on our hearts because we love our community. We put our hands on our hearts for those around us and for those suffering in the world. Amy's closed the kitchen. Who else is closing the kitchen tonight? Amazing. Anybody? Let's see it. Yep, there we go. Amazing. Ro has closed the kitchen. Yes, so Susie's closed the kitchen. Sherry's closed the kitchen. Liz has closed the kitchen. Bernadette. Zach's closed the kitchen. Crystal. Tracy. Amazing. Janet. Adriana. Diane. Dunn. Oakland. Amazing. Sarah. Sharon. Thank you. Molly. Amazing. Kim. Rachel. Hugs. Paula. Sue. Amazing. Mercy. Fab. Carol. Amazing. Janice, Emily, Jennifer, welcome, welcome. First, close the kitchen. Brenna, mwah, close the kitchen. Fabulous. Lisa's closed the kitchen. Danielle, hey girl, close the kitchen. Fab. Who else is closing the kitchen tonight? Cindy. Cindy's closed the kitchen and she's throwing out the artificial sweetener. It's a big day in Cindy's house. That's all I'm saying. Good, good. Who else is closing the kitchen tonight? Well, my loves, it's been a beautiful time. I am sending you so much love. I will see you all on Tuesday night. And remember this, and remember it always. If someone has not told you they love you today, I love you. And you must know that. You must know that always. I am here rooting for you. I will see you on Tuesday. And I'm here always, always. And if you're not in our Facebook group, get in our Facebook group if you're looking for the love. And that's it. Mwah. Love you guys so much. See you on Tuesday. Bye.